I am super happy to be here. I'm celebrating 8 years of doing stand-up comedy for wonderful audiences like yourselves. So it is great to be here. I have found, though, after 8 years of doing stand-up comedy, that your friends can still have some really bad advice for you when they think they're trying to help. They come at you and they think it's like really helpful after all this time, and I would be fine with good, helpful advice. But they come at me with stuff like a buddy of mine coming up to me saying, well, Brady, that's great. You're opening for Joe and Sam at the Skyline Comedy Club and all these wonderful comedians, but you are not a professional comedian until you get laid after a show by someone because they think you are funny. Based on that definition, I stand before you this afternoon very much not a professional comedian, because that has definitely not happened yet. So for the sake of my own career advancement, if anybody help me go semi-pro, I'll be taking hand jobs behind the Stone Arch after the show. Great. But yesterday I also celebrated a really cool to the day anniversary. It was 5 years ago to the day yesterday that I asked the most beautiful woman in the world to marry me. Yeah. Thank you. I guess I should clarify, she did say yes. I'm not celebrating a big rejection up here, so that's good. But being married to my wife, Addie, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I guess to me, the greatest thing about Addie is that she taught me what true love is. After all of the time on online dating and all the bad dates, she really taught me in my heart what true love is. And I can pinpoint the exact moment that it happened. We were lucky enough to take a beautiful honeymoon to Mexico after we were shortly married. And we were planning our honeymoon. And because I'm a child of the 80s, I wanted to buy a pair of those Don Johnson Miami Vice white beach pants to take with, which she surprisingly didn't have a problem with. But she said, well, Brady, if you're going to wear those, you're going to want to go and buy some white underwear to take with you to wear with those pants, because if you wear your colored underwear underneath, you're going to look more ridiculous than you do just wearing the pants. Fair enough. So I went to Kohl's, grabbed a pair of tighty whities, threw them in the carry-on, thought we're good to go, right? A couple days later, come home from work, and on the island in our apartment at the time, there is a stack of tighty whities. I'm like, babe, why'd you do that? I said, I told you I bought a pair of underwear and already got them. She looked at me with the most loving look that another human being has ever looked at me in my life. She said, Brady, I love you more than anything in this world. But in the 5 years that we have been together, you have sneezed and accidentally shit your pants on 3 different occasions. That's true love right there. Somebody that plans for that. And that should have been her wedding vows. In sickness and in health, until death do us part. I know every sneeze is a gamble, so here's some extra tidy whities for your inevitable accidental shart. I do. So cheers to her. She's amazing. God bless her. But looking back, too, on this time being engaged and married and wedding planning, I really enjoyed the wedding planning part of that. You think all those memories. My favorite part of that was thinking like where to spend the money, because you're having this big important day. You want to make sure you're spending your money in the right spot, right? So I asked everybody that was married, I'm like, where is the place that you should spend your money on your wedding day? And they said, without question, it's a photographer. You want somebody that can capture those moments that you can look back at in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But most importantly, if you're doing a no-look picture thing with your wife, and the only first time you see her coming down the aisle, that's the first time you're going to see her, you want somebody that can capture that moment of you seeing your beautiful bride for the first time. I said, sign me up. That sounds wonderful. Get her pictures back from the wedding, all 2,000 of them. She did a wonderful job. She captured the day beautifully. But in that stack of 2,000 pictures, there was only one picture of me seeing my beautiful bride walking down the aisle for the first time, and it was a close-up of this face here. She's like, what do you think? I'm like, I think I paid $2,000 to learn I'm an ugly-ass crier. That's what I think. But then, too, like, getting married and all that time beforehand, though, like, when you start dating and you're engaged, when we first got engaged, we moved to Minneapolis together. And the first month that we moved there was when COVID happened. So we got to know each other really well, because it was like that sweet spot of the lockdown, like April 2020, when it's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday after the Price is Right, and you're a couple mimosas deep, and you needed shit to talk about. Remember that? She looks at me on a random Tuesday, got a couple of mimosas in us, and she's like, Brady, let's play a little game. She's like, who do you think, because we both did the online dating thing, who do you think had the worst last bad date with somebody else before me and you met? I'm like, oh, that's fun. I said, you go first. She goes, I went on a date with a guy 2 weeks before I met you in winter in Wisconsin, so it's cold out. And we sat down, the waiter dropped the menus off, and the first thing out of his mouth to me was this, and this reaction. He goes, boy, it's a cold one out there tonight. Do you mind if later I use the inside of your thighs as earmuffs? He led with that? Really? Wow. I said, that is horrific. I said, actually, though, could you, if you still have it, I said, could you get me that guy's number? Because I would like to call him and thank him for setting the bar so freaking low that just 2 weeks later, I was able to skip right over it with my killer, well-thought-out opening line of, hello. That's all it took after that. Holy hell. She's like, well, what was yours? What was your bad date? I'm like, well, I pre-cursed this to her. I said, I found that dating towards the end there was just easier to be honest about anything and everything, because it all comes out eventually. Your likes, your dislikes, food, TV, all of it. So I'm on a date with a young lady, and she asked what I like to watch on TV. So I was honest with her. And I said, I am a huge professional wrestling fan. I grew up watching it with my 3 older brothers and my dad. It's nostalgic for me. I like it. And her face instantly changed. And she goes, I hate that shit. And proceeds to go on about a 90-second rant about anybody that pretty much likes professional wrestling is basically a giant turd of a human being. And she closes with, I think it's gross. I think it's disgusting. I think it sends a bad message to families. I think it's violent. I hate that fake shit, and I hate anybody that likes that fake shit. Ooh. Said, well, I guess we're in a bit of a pickle because the chicken tenders are on the way and you seem like you don't want to be here with me anymore. But I didn't want to get into a big fight with her right in the middle of an Applebee's. That's no good. Like, you gotta try and think of something. I'm like, all right, I gotta diffuse the situation, but I want to be honest with her. So I looked at her, I said, and I wanted to agree with her because I kind of wanted to diffuse it. I said, you know what? I tend to agree with you. I don't like fake people and fake stuff either. So I would like to take this opportunity to tell you that your left eyebrow is drawn on crooked. Let me get that for you right there. Enjoy your chicken tenders and your night. Thank you very much. But me and my wife, too, we got to know each other really well with that kind of stuff, but we also got to learn about our careers. She got to learn about the stand-up comedy thing, and I got to learn what she does. She is an esthetician. You folks know what that is? I see some yeses. I saw a couple no's. For those of you that shook your head no, estheticians are skincare specialists. They work at the salons and the spas, and they do facials and waxings, things like that. What I negated to ask in my questioning of what estheticians do was the extent of the waxings, because they wax everything. Everything. She came home from work one day. I'm like, babe, how was your day? She's like, it was pretty good. I only had 2 vaginas and 3 buttholes. Like, just so I know, is that what we're measuring a good and a bad day at around here? Because I didn't see any of that. Holy hell. She comes home a couple days later. She's like, babe, I had a really bad day. I'm like, that's going to be a lot of buttholes. She's like, no, part of my job is I offer like a neck massage. When people buy the spa package, they can buy like an add-on neck massage. And I had a guy in his mid-20s, bought the spa package, bought the neck massage. I started rubbing his neck, and the blanket started to go up. I said, well, that is quite a situation you found yourself there. I said, what did you do? She goes, well, I'm a professional. I have my license. I've just powered through it. I was going to finish it and then go to the next part of the spa package. So that's nice. I said, what did he do? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, as a guy, I said, he apologized. He excused himself from the room. I'm very sorry about that. I didn't know what was going to happen. Anything meek and mild. Did you at least like see him laying there in the chair, gripping his hands, talking to himself? Grandma, 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 baseball, 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 grandma. She's like, nope, just lay there with a big smile on his face. Well, that's fun. You got Hannibal Lecter in your chair. That's cool. And she looks at me very sincerely, and she goes, well, maybe he didn't know he had it. He didn't know he had it! Gentlemen, by show of hands, how many of you have been unaware of an erection? See all those hands popping up in the air? Nope! And one thing you're aware of is when that happens. She's like, well, I don't think he knew. I said, how much did he tip you? 75%. Oh, he knew. You guys, my name is Brady Gregorich. We got a great show for you today. Thank you for coming out.